Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom, to One-on-One, a KC Sports Network podcast. Mike DeVito here with 9-year NFL veteran and KC Super Bowl champion Jeff Allen, and we are here to bring you all things Chiefs football from a player's perspective. We are into week one. No more OTAs, no more mini camps, no more stinking preseason games. Real deal starts this week. The real stuff. Finally, Jeff, we are getting after it. But before we get into it, we got to thank our sponsor, Cookie Society Cookies. Jeff, what do we got? What's new? I know you talked to me last time.
The month of September, so it's almost fall. Not quite yet, but it's fall for Cookie Society. So we have an apple pie cookie. We have a Dunkaroo cookie. We have a frosted oatmeal cookie. Our typical classics like banana pudding, cookies and cream, chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin. The list goes on, man. It's unbelievable what my wife puts together in the kitchen, and gained a few pounds, since retiring because of her.
I can imagine. So before we get, what is the process like? How do you guys come up with all the different kinds? Like, you guys are so innovative with this.
Yeah. So our classic flavors are the typical flavors that you normally think about when you think of cookies, and then our seasonal flavors are just based off of seasons and what she's thinking and what she's inspired by at the time. Dunkaroos are something that both of us ate as kids. We were just walking through the grocery aisle, and she's like, "I wonder if I can make that into a cookie." Apple pie. I mean, you think of fall, you think of the holidays, you think of apple pie. That's something that she was like, let me see if I can make that into a cookie. So she made real apple pie filling with pie crust at the bottom of the cookie, stuffed it with the pie with the apple pie filling, and turned it into a cookie, which is unbelievable. It's kind of indescribable. You have to taste it.
I don't know.
Blow you away.
I don't know how she did. I would like. Who thinks you could turn apple pie into a cookie? Is it next? It's going to be like, hey, we turned a cheeseburger into a cookie. Like,
hey man, we pushed the envelope. We may do it. I mean, Andy Reid likes cheeseburgers, so we need to figure that one out.
Oh man, check them out. Cookiesociety.com. They ship nationwide. You got to get it. Trust us. We're linemen. We know our cookies.
Yes, sir.
Cookiesociety.com. Big Jeff, like I said when I started, we're into week one, man. I mean, what is it like as a player? You finally get all this stuff out of the way, and now it's the real deal. You go to the facility. There's 53 guys. There's 11 practice squad guys, and everybody's all business. There's no more cuts. There's no more anything. It's just football. What was this league like for you as a player?
Man, it's unbelievable. First off, for most of the guys on the team, it's like, man, I made the team. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have made NFL rosters for the first time. There's a lot of guys that, weren't sure they're going to make the roster that made the roster. So to finally have that set in stone and to be on that 53-man roster, it's amazing as a professional athlete. But heading into week one, it's a lot of emotion. It's nervousness. I know you had the preseason games, but you're not sure what you quite are as a team. It's excitement because it's the first week of the season, and you're able to go out there and put on the show for your fans, especially, starting out at home. Everyone loves good home cooking. So that's going to be a fun one to start. You're going to smell the barbecue as fans tailgate at Arrowhead, and it's just going to be a good atmosphere. So I know all the players are looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I do want to go back to what you said about the rookies that made the team. Yeah. And I remember being an undrafted free agent with the Jets, 2007, going through the whole training camp, making it to that last cut. And I remember back then, it was Saturday at 6 o'clock. If you didn't get the phone call by 6, you made the team.
Yeah.
And I remember waiting, and I'm hanging out with my dad, and we're in Long Island in New York, and we're just waiting. It's getting close to 6 o'clock, and we're walking through Dick's. And we just ate at the mall. We're walking through Dick's, and I look at the clock, and it's like 6:15. And I'm thinking, I didn't get the phone call, Dad. Like I didn't get the phone call. Like I think I made the active roster. And so because the practice squad guys are going to get cut, and then they're going to get called back on the practice squad. To make the active roster, you couldn't get the phone call.
Yeah.
I called my agent, and even I remember him being surprised. He was like, "Wait a minute." At the time, he's like, "Hold on, let me call somebody, make sure this case." And then I get the call back at 6:30 from my agent. He says, "You made it. You're going to be on the active roster." And I was just like, there was 4 draft picks that year for the Jets. there were, like I said before, rookie mini camp, they had like 100 guys come in, all these priority free agents, and I was the only undrafted guy to make the active roster from the day one. And I just thinking like, wow, the feeling was just incredible. I mean, it's and I bring all this up because back then I had OTAs that were 12-hour days under Eric Mangini, right? So we were going all the time. I had 11 days off in the summer. I mean, the OTAs went all the way up to July. I had 11 days, and then the rookies had to be back July 18th. I went home like a July 8th. And then we were back for an early rookie camp. And so I had all this time, then 2-a-days during training camp with pads the whole time. I had all these different assets. Then now, as an older guy, you look back and think that's terrible. But as a young guy, I wouldn't have made the team if I hadn't have had that. And so I think about these, obviously the drafted guys, especially the high-round guys, those guys are pretty much set to be on the team. You start getting 4th, 5th, 6th round, 7th round, then undrafted free agents. Hey, my hat's off to these guys. This is incredibly difficult to make an NFL team now as an undrafted guy. I mean, and take away the fact, and we'll get into this, that you don't have that 4th preseason game, right? That 4th preseason game, I was able to, I had a sack in it. I mean, I was able to really show what I had in that game. These guys did not have that whatsoever. So all those undrafted free agents that made the team this year, I can't stress how special that is, because this is almost impossible. I can guarantee you I would not have made an NFL roster if I was an undrafted free agent in 2020, 2021.
It's definitely a disadvantage not having that 4th preseason game, especially for late round picks and undrafted guys, because that's their time to shine. I mean, the starters aren't playing. So it's the 2s, 3s, 4s in some cases. They're getting priority in those games. They're getting most of the snaps, and they're able to, put their film out there. That's their resume. Right. They may not make the club that they're, auditioning for at the moment, but that's opportunities for 31 other teams. And to not have that's tough. So there's going to be a lot of guys that don't get that opportunity, the Terrell Davises of the world. Yeah. I mean, Hall of Fame running back. He made an NFL roster making a play on special teams in the preseason. And every NFL coach, they show that every training camp to guys. And maybe he doesn't make a team if it weren't for that play in the 4th preseason game. So it's definitely a disservice to them. But that's the new league.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's scary to think about, because when you lay it out like that, it's true. There are going to be guys who will never play a regular season snap in the NFL that could have been future Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
I mean, just because.
Crazy to think about.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, to those undrafted guys, those guys in the late rounds that got drafted, congratulations from us. I mean, that's just incredible. You brought up how there wasn't that 4th preseason game. Obviously, that hurts for the rookies. Do you think that made much of a difference for the veteran guys? I mean, I feel like, I think of it like, wow, that's a long break in between the 3rd preseason game and the first game. But then I think about how, the preseason is normally structured, especially for the guys who are going to be there, and it really isn't that much different. I mean, what did you think?
Yeah, it's no different. I mean, there's no 4th preseason game for veteran guys that are starters.
Right.
Anyway, they don't play that 4th preseason game. You're practicing, from the 3rd preseason game leading up to week 1 anyway. So there's no difference. It's the same approach. It's the same implementation of the game plan. I mean, after week 3 in the preseason, your focus shifts directly to week 1 of the season. So you're preparing for that week 1 matchup for 2 weeks, which we all know for Andy Reid, that's a huge advantage because he's one of the best coming off of bye weeks. So that's why he's so successful week 1, because he's the master of disguise. That's why I like to call him. All of the tricks he has up his sleeve, and he just. I mean, I was going to do his sound effects, but I don't want to embarrass myself. But he unleashes them. He's such a beast.
Oh man, it's so true. And I remember the most sore. I think one of the times that I was the most sore during the season was after the 4th preseason game. I only played in that game once, my rookie year, and then I didn't play in it after that. And standing on the sidelines with my pads on and not playing in that game and just standing there the whole time watching the young guys do it, I remember the next day being so incredibly sore. Knees, back. So it was like, oh man, that was the worst. Standing on that game, I dreaded it. Standing on the sidelines that whole game. So I think as a veteran, it's nice to have that to not have to worry about. But like we said, tough for the rookies. All right, we're into the regular season. Talk to me about a work week. What is this Monday? Starting Monday, going through to Sunday. What does this work week look like?
Well, you're starting the week out getting a glimpse of the opponent. One, I know for offensive linemen, we're getting a glimpse at our individual opponent, figuring out their different pass rush moves, seeing how they play the run from an individual perspective. And then we start to kind of focus on the team. So on like a Tuesday, we come in, we prep for just blitz. So we're looking at their different blitz packages on first and second down, for instance. And then, we work on that throughout practice. And then the next day, a Wednesday, we come and look at blitz again, but it's only third down blitzes. And we're looking at their sub and nickel packages. Then we're also looking at maybe red zone or high red zone or something like that, or that sort. And the following day, now we're working on, low red zone. We're working on, short yardage. Then you get into Fast Friday. That's when we start working on, having fun, getting the body loose. We work on everything we worked on throughout the week. Then you throw goal line in there. Right. And then you put everything together. You just want to have a perfect day. And that's what leads you into that Saturday, which is just a walkthrough. And then Sunday, it's game on.
Game on. I remember Monday, I'd go in the first thing, talking the first week, I'd go in and get that iPad loaded up with all, everything that we needed run game wise, right? Because that's what I was diving into right away. So I'd get that iPad up and then get a workout in. And Monday would be my big workout, right? So I'd get a heavy squat, get the chains on there, hang clean, really try to get a good heavy pump in so that I'm feeling good. My legs are feeling strong, but I'm not too sore towards the end of the week.
Yeah.
Where I can't recover from it. So my legs are fresh for Sunday, but I still got that pump in at the beginning of the week, get that leg day in. And then I'm at home and my wife's trying to talk to me, but I'm on that stinking iPad, sorting through all the different runs, right? First down run. Okay, where are they? First and 10, first in play, right? First in series. Where are they at? What are their tendencies? And I used to have this breakdown where you could sort all the plays out by personnel, formation, down and distance, and then run tendency. And so I know, okay, on first and 10, if they're in 21 personnel, there's an 85% chance we're going to get, 21 personnel eye near, there's an 85% chance we're going to get power, right? Yep. And so I would just start memorizing that, right? Okay, second and 7. Okay, they're out there in 12 personnel, both on, chances are we're going to get some sort of outside zone to the blocking tight end, right? So if I see the other guy, whatever the non-blocking tight end, I know chances are the run's going away from him, going towards the blocking tight end.
Yep.
And so I would study that, and that was on my mind all week. Now that's the benefit of being a 2-down defensive lineman, right? My game was so truncated. I didn't have to worry I knew if I was in on third down, there were 4 people hurt. And I just was the last guy standing. So there was all these other things, like you were talking about blitz packages and all this other stuff. When I got out to Kansas City, I had been in Rex Ryan's defense forever. I didn't need to study plays. I would look at what we had going in for the week. I would look at the different variations that, Sutton had come up with. That would happen on Wednesdays. But I was just run game all the time. And I really, one of the things I always took pride in was when, I knew I wasn't going to be the Pro Bowl guy out there, but I always took pride in when my opponents would say, how do you know what's going on all the time? Like, it seems like you always know what our play is. And that, I always took a lot of pride in that, because that's how I set myself apart as a player. I didn't have all the athletic ability and all this stuff. I knew if I put myself in the right position, I was strong enough to hold up blocks and let DJ and those guys make plays. And so I took a lot, and that started Monday. And it was just throughout the week studying the run game. And that's why I had a lot of trouble, and I think we talked about this. I'm one of those veterans that didn't like the fact that we didn't have pads on at least once a week throughout the whole season.
Definitely.
Were you like that too? Because
well, that's just a O-line, D-line thing. We can't do our job properly if we don't have pads on, and we only know one speed. It's either full go or it's no go. So
that's right.
It's tough for us to do our jobs without pads. It's tough to get a good run fit for sure. and you don't work on any hand place. It's just a tough deal.
Right.
But I get it. I mean, the health part of it, but it's definitely, it makes it harder for us to do our jobs. And ladies and gentlemen, take notice. Mike DeVito just broke it down for us. This is the reason why. This is the biggest difference from college football to the NFL. It's not that guys are that much more athletic. It's guys are smart. Guys know their job. They know what's going on. That's what makes the game that much faster. That's what makes technique so much more important. Leverage, all those different things, at the professional level, it makes it that much more important because 9 times out of 10, you're playing against a guy that's a professional like you, who's studying just like you, who knows for the most part a good probability of what you're doing. And just like you, I mean, I scripted a lot of my things. I knew down to what you were doing on the left versus the right.
Right.
I knew that you only spun inside on the right side and you couldn't do it on the left. I would check the different pass rushes, right versus left. I would know down and distance exactly what the defense was bringing blitz rise. I mean, Rex Ryan, he did a lot of different things, but on 3rd and 4, he might only show 2 different blitzes.
Right.
So, I mean, if you break it down like that and and you're aware during the game, the situations, it makes it that much easier and you're a step ahead of your opponent.
Oh, and it was very rare that I had a bad game if I really put in the time and effort to study. If I really spent the week studying, 9 times out of 10, I was going to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
It was the weeks that I got caught off track or some other stuff was going on, or maybe we were playing worse. The thing that always got me, you're playing an opponent that's not as good, right? So you're playing guys that you're not super worried about. That sense of urgency isn't there. That kind of stuff used to kill me. But week 1, that's not the case. I mean, you're studying hard. This is the first week. Week 1 plays faster than everything but the playoffs, right? I mean, there's nothing faster than week 1 in the regular season. And so
But another nod to Andy Reid, because I got to give him another shout out because, I mean, I play for different coaches. And a lot of the times, coaches are predictable. Guys like you would come up to the line, the personnel, and you call a play out. I mean, I remember playing Luke Kuechly when I was in Houston, and he literally called every single play. And I was just like, we have no chance. Like, he knows exactly what's going on.
Right.
But when you play for a coach like Andy Reid, you may think you know what's going on. You may call a play, and it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so special. And that's what made our job so much easier as offensive players in this system.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. You'd see these tendencies, and these tendencies would come up. And now during a regular season, this is different on week 1, obviously, but usually you're studying the last 4 weeks of tape, right? So you're taking your opponent's last 4 game tapes, and that's what you're going off of for your game.
Yeah.
And I would see some tendencies and think they have to change this. Like, this guy's 90% outside zone on 2nd and 10. Like, you can't 9 out of 10 plays. Like, he has to. Something's got to change. And I can't tell you how many coaches that was not the case. I mean, you line up, and that's what you get. Andy Reid was not. I mean, and like I talked about last time, I can testify just from 9 on 7 how difficult it is. He would give you as a defense and a defensive front against the run. He would give you everything that you were looking for, the tilt, the formation, everything. Everything you were looking for. You think this is exactly what it is, and it has to be this. And then all of a sudden, some crazy thing would happen, and all the ball's out the other side of the offense. Going 100 miles an hour down the field.
Guess what happens next? Now you start second guessing yourself, and then now you're like, okay, is it this? Is it that? And then you're like, wait, it is that. Yeah. But it's not. And now you're confused, and it's all over. The defense is playing on their heels. They don't have any indicators, and it's awesome.
You know what, Jeff? You know what a specific play that a lot of that at least when I was playing, there were a number of teams didn't run, and I wasn't sure why. That Andy Reid would run, and that other teams would run at times that messed me up. The trap play.
Yeah.
Right. This is a play. The second I get a trap, the whole game I'm thinking, I got that stinking trap. You're playing double teams a little hesitant because you're waiting for it to split. On the pass rush, you're a little bit hesitant. You're thinking, is this some sort of fake? I just couldn't stand a trap. I mean, but I say that to say it wasn't just a trap. Andy Reid had all kinds of change-ups, right? So it'd be a trap, and then it'd be a reverse, and then you'd get zone, and it would cut backside, and you were just like, I have no idea how to hone in on this. And
Exactly.
I remember telling you guys, thank God I'm not playing. Thank God I only had to play you during training camp because I couldn't imagine trying to prepare. And then he would get, this was back when Alex was there, but he'd get in that pistol formation where, the quarterback's back and the running back's right behind him, quarterback's shotgun, running back behind him, running back to the side of him. And now you guys that zone read stuff.
Yep.
On,
listen, I hope that the Cleveland Browns defensive line or the entire defense is listening to this podcast because there's going to be a lot of different looks. I can't tell you what you're going to see. I don't care what film you're watching right now. It's going to be something totally different. So get ready for that.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's the week, right? So you get in Monday, you get your game plan on, you start looking stuff through. Tuesday is the day off. Monday night was always fun because that's when we got together as players. Right? So families would get together, we'd have family Bible studies, we'd go out to dinner together, right? Because you didn't have nothing Tuesday morning. Tuesday's the day off. So everybody would go out Monday night and relax. That was always fun. And that was sort of the last breath of fresh air before Tuesday would come, go in and maybe get a workout and you'd relax and get ready. But Tuesday around 5 o'clock, I would eat dinner and then things would change. I was like, all right, I need to get to bed because I need to get up early because 6 o'clock I'm going in the lift. And then I'm getting ready for Wednesday. Wednesday was first and second down, run stuff. At the beginning of the season, you have the pads on, you have 9-on-7 to start. Now you got scout team looks. So every time you line up, you're getting what your opponent is going to play, right? There's no sort of ones versus ones. It's ones versus the scout team. And the scout team's giving you what that other team is going to do. And so every rep, you're honed in. You have to be honed in because I need to know this because this is what I'm going to play on Monday. And I used to challenge myself Wednesday on 9-on-7. I would make sure I'm looking at the formations and do I know what the offense is likely to do? And by that time, I should have known, right? 3 days into the week, I should have memorized what they're going to do, each down and difference, each back set, each formation, and can I call it out and get ready for it? And so that was my first test of the week was, okay, do I know what's going on 9-on-7? And so then you get through Wednesday, you get into Thursday. Thursday's a third down stuff. What else am I missing? Thursday was really exclusively third down, right?
Yeah, third down on Thursdays. And then – yeah, you do red zone, a little bit of red zone. We sprinkle that in, especially on 7-on-7. They always work on red zone.
Right.
And then Friday we throw in short yardage, goal line, and kind of like dust some things off to make sure if it was something we missed earlier in the week, a shot play or something that we didn't quite hit, that we want to iron out some kinks. We work on that on Friday. But for the most part, during the week, everything is segmented during the week. You have certain, situations each and every day. And there's not many reps. The starters get a bulk of them. And within those reps, you're trying to get work done. So you have to make sure as a team you're capitalizing on those opportunities because, if you're not hitting that play in practice, it's going to get thrown out the game plan. I don't care how good it looks. If we aren't executing it, individually as players, then the coaches can't have confidence in it. It's not going to be in the game plan. So it's very important for both the coaches and the players to go out there and get quality work so they can know exactly, what they're doing on game days and, have confidence in it.
Right. And that reminds me on Wednesdays before you even get into practice, you're getting this massive install, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting all of these plays. You get in Wednesday, get your workout in, eat breakfast, team meeting at 8:30, and then 9 o'clock, you're right in meeting as an offense and a defense. And you're getting basically the game plan for the week. I know Thursday you'll put your third down stuff in, and then Friday your short yardage, goal line, red zone stuff. But Wednesday's the big meat of it all. And, I always used to be so happy because I'd been in that defense for so long by the time I got to Kansas City that, Wednesday was just hearing it over and over. But I was like, man, if I was a new guy on this team, this is tough.
It's a lot to digest.
Yeah,
and Andy Reid's his playbook is really thick. And when we go into the week with a really thick folder, and then we condense it as the week goes on, depending on what we execute. But there's a lot on your plate, and rightfully so. You're a professional athlete; it's your job, so you have to make sure that you're doing everything in your part. And it's not just what you're doing in the building. There's only so much you can do while we're together. I mean, we meet, we go on the field, we watch film. But when majority of the work is done, especially for the true pros, it's at home. I mean, we spend a lot of time. I know I got to the facility at around 6:30 a.m. every morning, and I wasn't getting home until 6:30 or 7 p.m. And I'm still getting home and I'm watching 2 more hours of film.
Yeah.
And, I would spend time with my family with right when I get home, get the kids to bed, and then I'm up until 10 p.m. watching a little bit more film, and then I'm right back up at 5:30, getting in my car at 6 and getting to the stadium again.
Right.
And it's just on repeat for the next 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, that's exactly
7 days a week.
It's
definitely a grind, but thankfully it's only for 7 months, and then we have that off season when we can get a little bit more time for ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I mean, I remember on Wednesdays when we'd get home, I'd eat dinner, hang out for a little bit, and then just like you, I was up. And what I would do is look at the plays we did in practice, right? Because the practice film would have been uploaded by then. Look at the practice plays and then compare them to how the team I was playing ran that play against that front on Sundays. Right.
Yeah.
So like, okay, if we're playing a team and again, first down and they're running power and we were in a 46 front. Okay. Watch that. How I did, what did I do? What did the play look like? And then compare that to, okay, sort my team's, the team we're playing's reps and see how they ran that play against the 46 front, and then compare that. Okay. Here's how I'm going to get it. The tackle actually blocks down a little bit harder than my guy did. So I got to take note of that and recognize it's probably going to come a little bit differently. Or this is what here's a variation that our scout team didn't see that we could see. So those extra times you had to maximize those. And it gets harder. Like it gets harder,
Yeah.
in October, November, December, and we'll talk about this as we go, but it gets harder to do that, obviously. And then so you get Thursday. Now, Fast Friday, you talked about Fast Friday, right? So you come in, you get through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you got short yardage, goal line, that sort of stuff, and then just putting the finishing touches on the other stuff. It's almost like a 10-10-10, right? I mean, we're doing
really quick.
Experience, yeah.
Really quick. Yeah, Fridays are really quick. We come in, we get short yardage, goal line, a few periods here and there, where we're going against, the scout team, but it's a really quick situational practice, and we blow through it. And then when we're done, we're done. We get off the field, we get to go home.
Right.
Unlike any other day throughout the week, we don't watch that film for the day.
Right.
We get up on Saturday morning, we watch that early, we get a walkthrough in, and then we either, head to the flight or, we're heading home for a couple hours before we have to be at the hotel.
Yeah.
So it's just a unique schedule being a professional athlete.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, it's one of those things that while you're doing it, it seems like a lot, but when you're done, you miss it.
I'm so fired up right now.
Yeah, you miss it. You're like, man, that was definitely a jam-packed schedule, but it was a nice structure. You knew exactly what you were doing, and it was consistent.
Oh, miss it. I'm like, I'm gonna have to take a Xanax after this because this. But here's a key for our listeners and for those Chiefs Kingdom fans out there. Listen to the press conference on Fridays because this is going to give you a good tell about how Sunday is going to play out, because the correlation between a good practice on Friday and a good game on Sunday, I mean, it's not 1-to-1, but it's damn close. Oh, and so Fridays can be hard for players because you're thinking about how it's Fast Friday and you kind of want to just get out there and put in a day and get home.
Yeah.
But if it's not crisp and clean and the coaches are pissed and you're getting yelled at, that's bad. You don't want that to be the last thing in your mind before you get into Saturday walkthrough and then Sunday game. So the coaches always stress Friday's got to be crisp, fast, perfect. Treat it like it's Wednesday, right?
Yep.
And when it's done, it's done. And so that's key. Listen to those press conferences, because what gets me nervous is whenever you hear coach on Friday, coach, how'd everything go? And you hear, we didn't have a great Friday practice. We need to get better. That's
not good.
That's bad news. I'd rather sacrifice a bad day on Wednesday and Thursday and have Friday be good than the opposite. You got to get Friday down. So keep an eye out for that. Right? Am I right, Jeff? I mean, that's how
you're definitely right. That's one of those things where you want to be perfect. The plays are scripted. You've went through it throughout the week, a couple of times. So Friday's the day where you want to see everything executed at a high level.
Yeah.
You want to make sure receivers are running nice routes. You want to make sure protection is in the right place. Make sure we have the right fits on defense.
Yeah.
All of those things, coverages are lined up the right way. Everyone knows their assignment. Like, that's what Friday's about. It's not physical. I know we're out there running around, but it's more of a mental day. It's a dress rehearsal.
Right.
You're out there putting everything up on film, letting the coaches see that they're ready for the real deal on Sunday.
Yes, exactly. No, that's exactly right. And so you get into Friday, going to the weekend. Let's do pregame routines next week. I think that'll be fun to spend some time on that.
Good to talk about.
One thing I do want to talk about before we close is you think about going into this first game, and somebody asked me, do you prefer being on the road or being at home? And I was going to say I like getting out and being on the road. I feel like being on the road gives an extra element of seriousness. You take away some of the distractions, right? So when you're at home, you go in on Sunday, or Saturday, you do your walkthrough, and then you go home until about 4 or 5 o'clock when you drive to the hotel for the night's the pregame stuff, which is great. But I always liked on the first game being away, because after your walkthrough on Saturdays when you're traveling, then you get on the plane and go.
Yeah.
So you're eliminating all distractions. Like, okay, time to zone in and get ready. Now, that's normally how I feel. For this Chiefs team this year, with sort of the one, and I'll put question mark, not the question mark, but the one sort of thing everybody's looking at is the gelling of the offensive line.
Yes.
I think this is a perfect time to have the first game be at home, because for that offense, right? Am I right? Am I right thinking that?
Yeah. And I agree with you as far as the eliminating distractions and everything on the road. But for an offense, the ultimate distraction is crowd noise, and you get a ton of that on the road. So being at home is a benefit, especially for this O-line. They're going to be able to hear Patrick's voice. They're going to hear cadence, and they're going to be able to be, getting off the ball and snap. And that's going to be huge against these pass rushers. You got Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. You got a host of other guys that can really rush the passer. So it's going to be important that they're using the cadence to their advantage. Patrick is using the hard counts, keeping them on their toes. And it's going to be a test. I mean, Cleveland's obviously, a very good football team, has a great defense, great front seven. And this is their first test. I mean, on paper, they look like one of the best O-lines in Andy Reid era, if not the best.
Yeah, Jeff Allen, but they
but you got to get the job done, and I think they'll do it. I think they're ready for a challenge. It's a lot of young guys, which is sometimes scary. But in this situation, what gives me confidence is, one, Brett Veach and Andy Reid, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But the guys that are backing them up, I know they're good football players too.
Yeah.
I know we can say whatever we want about the Super Bowl. That was one game. Those guys, they had moments throughout their careers where they're good football players. And the fact that these young guys beat them out should tell you, they're good enough to get the job done. So I'm excited to see what they do in real life action. Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, as a defensive lineman, like I said before, you have a tendency to underestimate guys. Like a lot of times when I'm seeing a line of rookies, I'm thinking, hey,
Yeah.
It's I'm Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett. I'm thinking that's a bunch of rookies.
Yeah.
You're going to give them respect in the media, but in the back of your head, you're thinking, I've played a lot better than these guys. I'll be fine. And that's where you don't want to be. So I like that for those guys. I think it's good. They don't have to worry about crowd noise. They can come out there. They can gel. They can talk to each other.
Yep.
And this is a good group. You got a lot of smart guys in there that, you're right. We'll talk about that through the year goes on, the impact that those guys that aren't on the field but have a lot of experience out there, how that impact on these young guys.
Definitely.
How important that is. All right, Big Jeff. Here we go. Week 1, baby. Chiefs Kingdom. We'll see you out there Sunday, and then we'll see you back here next Wednesday for another episode on One-on-One. We love you guys. Enjoy the game. Big Jeff, love you, brother.
Love you too, brother. Let's go, Chiefs. Get a good one.